The Baker Street Enigma, or The Case of the Cryptic Message. Chapter 1. The Loaf and the Dead. London, December 31st, 1975. A grey dawn slouched over the skyline, rubbing its bleary light against the fog-choked streets like a drunk trying to focus. Sirens wailed in the distance. Somewhere nearby, the rumble of a lorry cut through the quiet. It was the kind of morning that felt like a hangover for the entire city. Detective Inspector Alistair Finch stood in the narrow corridor of a Baker Street apartment building, collar turned up against the draft that seemed to seep from the walls. The smell of mold mingled with cigarette smoke. It was a place where secrets clung like damp wallpaper. Behind him, a constable shifted nervously. "Doors open, sir." "Was like that when we arrived." Finch grunted. "Then let's hope the killer was careless." He pushed into the flat. It wasn't messy, just wrong. Too neat. Books aligned by height, not subject. A cup of tea still steaming on a coaster. A chess game mid-match, a single queen tipped over. And in the armchair by the hearth, head slumped back, eyes glassy behind wire-rimmed spectacles, sat Dr. Jonathan Eldridge. World-renowned cryptographer. Consultant to MI6. A man whose mind helped win wars. Now dead. Finch crouched, hands on his knees. "What happened to you, doctor?" The answer lay in Eldridge's right hand, a loaf of bread. Ordinary to the untrained eye. Finch, however, had seen too much to assume anything was ordinary. "Bread?" the constable asked, baffled. Finch sniffed it. The faint scent of caraway, rye, and, beneath it, almonds. "Cyanide," he muttered. "A professional kill. Quick, tidy, no struggle." He tore the loaf gently, and something crackled inside. A strip of parchment, baked directly into the dough. Handwritten. Encoded. He glanced up at the constable. "Bag this. No one touches it but me." Whatever game Eldridge had been playing didn't end here. Chapter 2. Ciphers in Crumbs. Scotland Yard's cryptography division was empty when Finch entered. New Year's Eve meant most staff had gone home, eager to drown the year in gin and forgetting. Finch wasn't the celebrating type. The job always came first, partly because he cared, partly because he didn't know what he'd be without it. He spread the parchment beneath a lamp. Blocks of letters and symbols leapt off the page. 15-4 ashes, crown. Tower tonight / midnight. Tell no one. A rendezvous. And a warning. Finch rubbed his jaw. Eldridge must have known he was marked. The bread wasn't a hiding place, it was a message. A trail of breadcrumbs for the last man he could trust to follow. Tower of London. Midnight. Something moved at the corner of his vision. He turned to see her, leaning casually against the doorway like she'd always belonged there. Tall, auburn hair pinned in a loose chignon, a cigarette burning between elegant fingers. She wore a coat of charcoal wool, the collar lined with fur. Expensive taste. Cold eyes. "You must be Detective Finch," she said, accent clipped, educated. "I'm Margaret Vale." Finch recognized the name. Dr. Eldridge's former research assistant. MI6 ties whispered behind her reputation like a shadow. "That's right," he replied. "And you're trespassing." "I'm here because you're about to drown in waters too deep to swim," she said coolly. Eldridge didn't just crack codes. He built them, ones meant to protect this country from people who'd sell it for rubles and champagne. Whatever he was killed for, it didn't end with him. Finch stepped forward. "Did you know about the bread? The message?" She hesitated, just long enough to tell him she did. "You'll do what you always do, Inspector," she said. "You'll chase answers even when they're prepared to kill you. And you'll disappear before I can question you properly." "Right." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "You're a quick study." Then she was gone. Chapter 3. Shadows at the Tower. By nightfall, London had changed her clothes. The city wore fog like a veil, and the Thames carried the moonlight like spilled mercury. Fireworks rehearsed in the distance, New Year's preparations echoing over the rooftops. Finch approached the Tower of London alone, badge tucked away, revolver holstered beneath his coat. He felt the eyes of history on him, walls that had heard confessions extracted by steel and screams. Inside the outer courtyard, shadows gathered. 10 figures. Some in long coats, some in evening attire ill-suited to the cold. Their faces were wrong, not ordinary citizens, but people trained to look ordinary. Former MI6 operatives. The kind who vanished into crowds or emerged from them like ghosts. One man stepped forward. Silver hair. Perfect posture. Authority radiated from him like heat. Sir Reginald Hawthorne. Former Deputy Director of MI6. Finch stiffened. Didn't expect you here, sir. Or anywhere near this mess. Hawthorne's smile was thin. Eldridge was one of ours, Finch. It's only right we tidy up the remnants. Remnants. Finch caught the plural. You mean loose ends. Before he could press further, a voice sliced through the air. He means potential witnesses. Margaret Vale emerged from behind a stone pillar, pistol drawn. Finch tensed, hand brushing his holster. Hawthorne didn't flinch. Put the gun away, Margaret. You were always too sentimental. Funny, she replied. I always thought that was your job. The gathered crowd murmured, alliances shifted like tectonic plates beneath their feet. Finch stepped between them. Enough. Eldridge hid a message for a reason. He expected me to be here, and I'm damn well going to honor that. Hawthorne's smile sharpened. Did he tell you about Operation Ashes? Finch froze. The term from the cipher. A Cold War maneuver, Hawthorne continued. Designed to plant disinformation in Soviet channels. Eldridge orchestrated it. But someone leaked the truth. A mole. They forced our hand. So we're cleaning it up. Margaret's jaw tightened. By murdering our own people? Poisoning them like lab rats. They chose the wrong side, Hawthorne said. Finch finally spoke. And which side is that, sir? Hawthorne looked him dead in the eyes. Mine. Chapter 4. A countdown to betrayal. The meeting erupted like a gunshot. Arguments, accusations, paranoia snapping like wire under tension. Finch watched every face, fear, guilt, desperation painted like masks. The Cold War had turned them into weapons, each waiting for the other to misfire. Then the bells began to toll. 11:55 p.m. Hawthorne signaled to 2 operatives. Kill Vale. And the detective. 3 guns rose. Finch dove behind a stone column, shots ringing off the wall. Margaret slid next to him, breathing hard. You always make friends like this, she gasped. Only on holidays, he replied. They moved together, Finch firing warning shots, not to kill, but to scatter. Margaret returned fire with terrifying precision. Operatives fell back. The others panicked and fled into the fog. Hawthorne remained, calm as winter. Do you even understand what Eldridge did, Finch? He made himself indispensable. Kept codes only he could decipher. If the wrong hands got them. Then protect him, Finch snarled. Don't murder him. It's too late for that. Hawthorne raised his weapon. Chapter 5. Midnight on the tower. Finch tackled him. The gun clattered across the stones, sliding to the battlement edge. Hawthorne punched like a man trained to dismantle a threat in seconds. Finch countered with raw tenacity. They crashed against the ancient stone, overlooking the city. Fireworks began to bloom, electric stars bursting above the Thames. 11:59 p.m. Hawthorne pinned Finch. You'll never understand, Inspector. Patriotism requires sacrifice. Finch spat blood. Then start with yourself. He drove a knee upward, unbalancing Hawthorne. Margaret seized the moment, kicking the fallen revolver toward Finch. Hawthorne went for a concealed blade. Finch fired. The shot echoed through history. Hawthorne staggered back, eyes wide with cold surprise. I served this country. And now you answer for what you've done. Hawthorne crumpled. The fireworks masked the sound of his body hitting the stones. The city roared its celebration. Midnight. Another year. Another secret buried. Chapter 6. Ashes and Aftermath. By dawn, the tower was empty. MI6 would sanitize the scene, rewrite it, tuck it neatly into a classified drawer. Hawthorne would be remembered as a patriot. Eldridge as a casualty of age or illness. Margaret Vale would vanish like smoke. But Finch would carry the truth. In his office, he stared at Eldridge's code. One line remained unsolved. Ashes / crown. The cost of empire. He knew what it meant now. Some secrets guarded nations. Others damned them. The sunlight crept through the blinds. The city woke with hangover breath and New Year's promises. Finch lit a cigarette, exhaled a plume of doubt. Margaret appeared in the doorway. You could still walk away, she said. Finch shook his head. Somebody has to remember what happened. And what will you do with it? He didn't have an answer. Maybe he never would. Just try not to get yourself killed, she said quietly. For a spy, Finch replied, you're awfully sentimental. For a detective, she countered, you're awfully stubborn. She left. This time, Finch didn't stop her. He looked once more at the code. The loaf of bread. The death of a man who had trusted him with his last breath. Patriotism. Loyalty. Justice. 3 currencies. All of them counterfeit if spent too freely. He put out the cigarette. Pulled on his coat. London waited. Fog and all. Detective Inspector Alistair Finch stepped into the grey morning, changed, but still moving. Still looking for answers in a city built on riddles. Still chasing the truth. Even when it wanted him dead.